102 since we changed the way we feed the goats. So basically we have a new mixture for what used to just be alfalfa pellets that now has some extra supplements that are really good for them in it. Same other brown food. They each get, adults each get 1 scoop, about 1 scoop each. I usually do like more like this much, because, which is probably a little, like 3/4 or a little over, because sometimes I don't finish it. But basically they're getting about a scoop of each, and we are changed the like mechanism to eating that I'll show you in a little bit. So what I do is put these, like, we have these containers all over here, and so this would be like a portion for Rosemary, so she's getting roughly like 2 cups of food. And so I would like pour it in this and then move on. And so like Mabel will get about the same amount as Rosemary, and then Honey will get about the same amount, although I usually give Honey a little bit less because she is a smaller goat. But she almost always ends up, she's so sweet that I always give her like the extra, so I feed her less at first since I know I'm giving her treats. So you can just go ahead and give Honey the same amount as the other big goats, and then the babies, Bee, Bitsy, and Ollie, each get about 1/3 of a scoop. So that's gonna look like maybe like this. If you're gonna like get a scoop, I'll usually do like, that's really more than 1/3, so probably like that. You don't have to be that exact. If it ends up being a 1/2 scoop, like no one's gonna fire you from your goat feeding gig. So they each get about 1/2 scoop of each of these. And then what I've started to do, what I've realized works best, is I don't start scooping their food out. Here they're eating their dinner right now. I don't start scooping their food out until I can kind of separate them. So if I notice that like, oh, like Mabel is in this pen alone, which is what happened today. So I just close the gate and I let Mabel, we basically want Mabel to eat alone, because she's gotten kind of bossy since she had babies. And so I'll close that gate, and then these are pretty easy to separate. Just kind of like push Bee and Bitsy into another area and close the gate. And then the rest of the other 3 can eat together. So what I do is I'll leave all of these, like these green ones are what Rosemary and Mabel eat in. And then this long feeder, Bee and Bitsy eat in, because they have to eat in the same container because they're twins. And so I'll leave all of these on the top up here facing you, so they're easy to fill up. And then what you'll do is walk over here with Mabel's scoop and pour it in her green thing. Let's pretend it's up here. And then I just like step it down with my hands, so I don't have to go through all of that, and hook it on the, hi girl, hook it right here on the thing, and she'll start eating. Then you go and do Rosemary's. And for this one, I would come inside for her. So come in here, hook Rosemary's down onto the fence, then put down Honey's, and she uses that black bowl, which will be over by all their food. And then Ollie, I've been giving her own bowl. It's just a little Tupperware for now. We'll get her a better bowl, but her mama doesn't like her to eat with her. So then you put down Ollie's, and then go in and put down the baby's feeder. And then this is like the best way for them to all eat. So it's a little bit hard to get them separated, and if it's not perfect, like it's gonna be okay, but it just gets more stressful for them whenever they're not separated this way. Hi girl. So yeah, and then Ollie and Rosemary, the beetroot, the new mixture of stuff that we're giving them, they don't like as much, so they'll leave behind these like pulp pieces of beetroot. And don't really worry about it. See, she doesn't like her to eat with her, which is why we give her her own little bowl. And yeah, so that's like basically the gist. If you have any questions, just call me. And if like you wanted to get your brother or someone like your dad or your mom to come and help separate them, it would probably be helpful. But my biggest tip, what I've learned doing it on my own this last week, has been to just come out here first, hang out with them, and see how they naturally separate themselves, because the hardest part is getting Maybelle alone. And if you have Maybelle alone in here but her babies are over here, close that gate and then you can get the babies in there in a little bit. It's not that hard. I like literally today passed them over the fence and like hung them down as far as I could, and then they just jumped and we're fine. So yeah, so it looks like, oh, someone ran into the fence. It looks like about time for me to start letting them out. But Rosemary hasn't finished her food. Girly Pop, do I need to go get you more grain? Why don't you like your food? Okay, sorry, I'm sidetracked. But here's the girlies. Oh, there's your nose. So it tastes good. It tastes better out of your hand. It's kind of funny. Goat logic. But here we go. So I will make sure that everything's hooked up for you properly. Man, they're just not eating this beetroot that much. And then we will let the N50 out. And yeah, so basically the key is getting separated before you start pulling out their food. And then, oh, hi Bee. And then feeding them in order, because they're hierarchical, classist, if you will, animals. And yeah, so we've unleashed the beast. So yeah, that is the gist.